pleasant good evening and welcome to SAT TV News. I am Nisha Charles.
And I am Desmond Joseph.
And we are your presenters for the evening. Thank you for joining us. Among the major developments, Tourism Minister said VAT removal for hotels not for Dominica.
Celestial Service Industries to launch export development platform.
Campaign urges Saudi chicken boycott over price rises.
And in sports, Exodus Football Club secures 4th victory.
Details of these and other stories after the break.
Join hands with us. Come and sign up for your digital TV connection today. We got the sharpest, cleanest, brightest digital TV connection. No antiquated analog service, only pure digital and many new packages coming soon. With latest in sports, movies, children programming and much more. So if you have your flat screen TV and you want to see quality TV, join now. Sign up today for your digital television. Support local, support SAT Telecommunications Limited, the people's choice. Support local, support SAT Telecoms Limited, the people's choice. Join hands with SAT and come in and sign up for your digital internet connection today. The fastest broadband digital internet. Why settle for imitation when you can get a better choice? Choose from our 5 packages. We've got the warm-up package going at 256 kilobytes for $28.75. We've got the breezy package at 1.5 megabytes going at $57.50. We've got the Maverick package at 3 megabytes going at $69. We've got the Jet Stream package at 4 megabytes going at $126.50. And we've got the Warp Drive package at 6 megabytes going at $241.50. So come in today and join in hands with the family of SAT Telecoms Limited and sign up for your fastest digital broadband internet service today.
Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Celebrating excellence in education. That was the theme of this year's Excellence in Education Awards by the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development and the National Bank of Dominica. Excellent principals and teachers play a deciding role in realizing the goals of our education system. Chief Education Officer Mr. Stevenson Hyacinth says the ministry is not only looking at education as a right, but emphasizing the qualitative improvement in the teaching and learning process in our schools.
Our expectation is that all principals and teachers would be inspired to ensure that we nurture the curiosity in all our students, give them the passion to pursue the talent, the confidence to unlock the treasures that lie within, and the opportunity to improve their lives and transform not only Dominica but the world.
He says it takes a dynamic principal and the caring touch of a good, committed, excellent teacher to make a difference in the life of our students. Featured speaker Mrs. Alma Kozlatic says education is imperative to every human who wishes to be a productive member of society.
It is not only a way of gaining information and helping individuals broaden their horizon, but it is also a mental tool that helps individuals think beyond the norm and reach for the impossible. Education should not only be viewed as a priority, but a gift and opportunity to grow and become a better person.
To be a teacher is to dedicate oneself to what is arguably the most challenging and appreciated profession.
The hours a teacher spends grading papers and creating lesson plans are endless. The time invested in each child's academics, behavior, and sometimes even personal life is demanding and requires every ounce of patience that your body can muster.
She says she would teach because you understand the extraordinary role teachers play in the lives of children from their formative years and for the rest of their lives. Sister Anita Peters won the award for Outstanding Primary School Principal. Mrs. Josephine Dublin took the award for Outstanding Secondary School Principal. Miss Dawn Daru from the Bells Primary School took the award for Outstanding Promising Teacher in the primary school.
Teaching, I think, is the single most important profession in the world. I know that in your careers as teachers and principals, you sometimes feel disadvantaged in comparison to your peers who earn more than you do in other professions. And so it is important that we all acknowledge that as educators, you represent the cornerstone of our society. You are the unsung heroes of Dominica.
As a former teacher, the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit knows how the work teachers do can impact the lives of the students and how the job that they do can have the far-reaching effects on the society.
And in more local news, the Gilded Mango Cultural Livelihoods and Development in Dominica. That was the topic for the first ever Edward Oliver Libla Distinguished Lecture held at the Fort Young Hotel on Thursday, October 4, 2012. Dr. Alvin Booley was a distinguished lecturer at the event. He is a cultural administrator, playwright, and director. Dr. Booley says he would like us to think of our culture as a ripe, juicy mango born from a huge tree whose roots run deep to the far corners of the earth. It was this mango that E.O. Libla recognized in the 1950s as the fruit of choice to sustain the healthy growth and sustainable development of an island nation like ours in the middle of the 20th century.
He understood that unless the people loved the land and had a spiritual connection to it, there was little chance of them working with hands and hearts and voices. So in 1965, when we were just about recovering from the failed federation, and we were starting to take the first steps towards sovereignty, self-governance, and independence, the process of gilding the mango began. That is, the glorification of our culture, the prerequisite for...
Dr. Booley gave an interesting story on how the West Coast Highway became to be named after Dr. Edward Oliver Libla.
The story goes that in the 1940s, Mrs. Elma Napier, driving her Jeep along a rugged country road in the north of the island, came across a young man who had injured his leg having fallen off his motorcycle. He was angry, not with himself, but with the road, and throughout the long drive to the Portsmouth Hospital, he kept swearing that one day he would ensure that there were proper roads in the island of Dominica.
Around 1965, Dominica was well ahead of the rest of the Caribbean by creating new musical styles. In the 1970s, he says a diminishing Dominican population was unable to sustain the 18 bands that existed in Dominica at the height of the music era.
They soon migrated mainly to the French islands, then to the French mainland, then to Africa, then to the rest of the diaspora. And soon, once again, in about the mid-80s, there was just about one band at all, the faithful Swinging Stars. Not composing much new music, but certainly playing great music. The time had come for a new wave of young musicians with new rhythms in their blood. This did not take long to materialize, and they called the rhythm bouillon.
After 34 years of independence, he asked what is the product that we now hold in our hands and call it our culture, and how close is it to what E.O. Libla wanted when he started the first National Day in 1965.
The dream, in Libla's own words, was that, quote, we should emerge into a brighter dawn of a new economic and political day. Suffices to state, however, that one essential prerequisite to the attainment of that aforementioned ideal was the development among our people of love of their country and the understanding and appreciation of their roots, background, and culture.
He says our National Day celebrations was meant for that very purpose. Dr. Booley says Edward Oliver Libla was an intellectual, a visionary, and a man of culture, and besides the difficult decisions he had to make, he always put the country and people first, and it is for that he has the right to be called Father of the Nation.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit is urging Dominicans to do all they can to protect our environment so we can truly call this country the nature island of the Caribbean.
2 years ago or 3 years ago, I challenged the country to do some introspection insofar as our cleanliness and beautification of Dominica. We cannot boast to the world that we are the nature isle of the world and place this only on what God has given to us. What are we doing as citizens to show appreciation for what God has given to us? And what are we doing as citizens to maintain and to uplift and to add value to what the good Lord has given to us insofar as our natural heritage?
He said that we cannot continue to pollute our rivers as too many of us simply dump waste in our precious rivers, and we see the effects of this bad practice with the flooding that takes place during heavy rains which washes people's homes away. Mr. Skerrit says that we cannot keep cutting trees and not planting to replace them.
So we have to look at this issue of beautification, because growing up in Dominica in the 70s and 80s, everybody took pride in planting flowers at their homes and along the streets. And we moved to a point where people almost expect the government to come in to plant flowers at their homes for them. You go to schools and there are no flowers and plants at the schools in our country. Now we have to bring this back to the fore, to let the world know that we're not only the nature isle because of our rivers and our lakes and our waterfalls, but because we are the cleanest country on earth and the most beautiful insofar as the planting of flowers along the streets of Dominica and in our homes.
He is satisfied with the decision to focus Community Day of Service on beautification for the last 2 years, and as a result of this is the lovely sight of flowers on the side of the road. Mr. Skerrit says this adds to the aesthetic value of the country and instills a sense of pride and beautification and cleanliness in Dominicans, and this must and should continue. The Prime Minister also sent out a challenge to Dominicans to show greater tolerance, love and affection to each other, as many times we have many family members, namely our grandparents, left alone to provide for themselves. He said that this is not right, as in most cases they have relatives and friends living right next to them.
That has been part of our culture, our heritage. Looking after our grandparents, because they looked after us when we were small. And now they can't fend for themselves. We have a responsibility as a people to care for our people. And I continue to challenge us to care for our grandparents. We have to show a greater sense of hospitality towards our fellow citizens and also those who come to Dominica.
If this is done, we will have a much better Dominica, as we would like to all live in a peace and harmony.
And in more local news, Tourism and Legal Affairs Minister Honorable Ian Douglas is of the view that a move by St. Lucia government to excuse hotel guests from paying value-added tax, VAT, on the service charges should not be copied in Dominica.
Well, what St. Lucia is doing really is exempting the service charge, especially in the hotels. You know, you have the service charge in the hotels because primarily the service charge goes directly back to the actual waitresses and the chefs and the bartenders. Actually, so St. Lucia has decided to exempt the service charge component of the hotel bill from VAT.
Mr. Douglas says he is skeptical about this move being done in Dominica. He also added that he certainly would advise against playing around with the VAT, especially as it is the base of our economy at this point. The tourism minister also pointed out that all revenue collected by the VAT is crucial to the government, saying that the world is still suffering from the effects of the global financial crisis.
And that's why over the years government has gone ahead and reduced personal income tax. We want to wither it down so that more of a person's salary stays in their pocket. But when you start touching the VAT, when you concede to exempting the service charge, then some other interest group will come for the exemption of, and then you start cracking the foundation of the VAT.
He said this cannot afford to happen here, as the VAT is the basis upon which our economy sits. Mr. Douglas says that the St. Lucia and Dominica has different economies, so whereas it may be good for them to remove the VAT on their service charges, it may be disastrous for Dominica, so we cannot compare.
The St. Lucian situation may be different from the Dominican situation. I can only speak from a Dominican situation, and I know where we were in 2001 and 2002 when our debt to GDP ratio was 130%. That means out of $1 being in your pocket, you have to spend $1.30. So you don't know where the 30 cents coming from. And this government has been able to, in that 10-year period, to reduce that debt to GDP ratio to 65–70%. I'm not sure that is something that we want to start doing, playing around with the VAT.
In more news, Dominica police have confirmed that 2 Dominican males have been discovered dead in a house in Cedar Valley, Antigua. The men, who were said to be in their early 30s, appeared to have gunshot wounds about their body in the discovery that was made at about 10:30 a.m. on the morning of Friday, October the 5th. Though Antiguan police have not yet revealed the identity of the men, local reports indicate that one of the deceased was the owner of a popular sound and light company, Club DVD Sounds, Mr. Alwyn Robin. Meanwhile, it is reported that the other victim has been confirmed, a relative, as Mr. Alex Revere, who was recently reported missing. SAT TV News will provide you with an update on this story as it unfolds. And in agriculture, head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Division in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Ryan Ansem, says the ministry has been working feverishly in their fight against the Black Sigatoka disease. They have developed an integrated pest management plan to fight the disease, which has 3 principles.
The first principle would be sanitation, where you have to eliminate all the inoculation, all the disease in the field by de-leafing. By de-leafing, I mean cutting off the infested leaves. So the farmer, once you have infested leaves, stages 1, 2, and 3 on your leaf, we're asking you to manicure that leaf, cut off the infested part of the leaf. And sanitation, we want you to keep the fields free of weeds, adhere to the one sucker policy, spacing of your field, the density, to keep the density, the right density in your field, and spacing is very important. It's going to reduce the amount of humidity that the fungus needs to reproduce.
Mr. Ansem says all farmers must take the necessary steps to add nutrition to the plants, as a healthy plant can withstand any disease just like human beings.
We are aware that the fertilizer inputs are very expensive, but farmers can go the traditional way by composting, by doing composting. The same material, the harvested material, the leaves, they can compost this material and have add organic fertilizer to the plant. The third principle would be to apply a fungicide, a potent fungicide that will manage the disease itself. So the program is not only applying a fungicide, and we want to be very clear, and we want the farmers to get that message. The Black Sigatoka management program is an integrated pest management program where you sanitize the field, and the de-leafing program is working very well. We have noticed it, we have witnessed it in certain farms. In Martinique it has been successful, in Australia and in Jamaica.
He noted that farmers should go on a de-leafing program, sanitize their fields, add nutrition and pesticides, and get rid of all weeds and drainage problems. Presently, the Ministry of Agriculture has sprayed 1,700 banana and plantain fields island-wide, and a first cycle of fungicides have been given. Mr. Ansem pointed out that in the next 2 weeks, they will commence spraying the second cycle of fungicides to manage the Black Sigatoka disease.
Again, we are also asking the hucksters and the farmers, do not move planting material from one area to another. Do not move leafing material. By leafing material, I mean trash, dry trash. Traditionally, our hucksters and farmers use this dry trash to cushion their produce going to the market. So we're asking them, do not use these materials to bring to our local markets, to the Mao, to the Roseau, to the Portsmouth market, to adhere to that. Doing that, you spread the disease from one area to another. And also the hucksters, we are also asking the hucksters to comply to the import requirements of our trading partners, Antigua and Monstrum, that the plantain and banana has to be dipped. It has to be dipped in a fungicide, and it has to be packed to meet our importing country requirement.
According to him, if all farmers comply with the measures put in place to prevent the spread of this deadly disease, our banana and plantain sector is well on its way to again meet the export market. They have successfully negotiated with Antigua on restrictions they place on Dominica produce, since they do not have Black Sigatoka and do not want it on their shores. However, they did not put a ban on Dominican produce.
What they are saying is that we have concerns, like any country who have concern when a pest is introduced in another, that you have to comply to that requirements to meet the market. And the Antigua requirement is that you dehan the banana and plantain, you dip it in a fungicide, which is Fungaflow, and you pack it, and in our officers at the ports of entry inspect and issue a phytosanitary certificate. That phytosanitary certificate is a scientific legal document that says that the produce has been inspected and it is free from the pest of concern of the importing country, and it is free of all pests and can be exported. So we have been complying, and what we have done as a ministry, we have increased our inspection percentage at Portsmouth.
He added that St. Kitts and St. Martin do have the same requirements, whereas Montserrat does have a restriction on Dominica's banana and plantain, which they are working to resolve. Mr. Ansem highlighted that presently bananas and plantain from Dominica can be exported to St. Kitts, Antigua and St. Martin, but not Montserrat as yet.
And in more local news, Petite Savanne will be full of excitement this weekend as Fête de Savanne 2012 will take place from October 4th to 5th. Member of the Petite Savanne Village Council, Ms. Joanna Gis, says the feast will start off with a Petite Savanne Talent Night where the residents will showcase their different talents.
For example, modeling, singing, dancing, poetry and drama. And then this is followed by hi-fi music, of course. And then following that is the next day, Saturday, we teamed up with the Digital Vibes band, and we are using the theme, which is Yellow Fest. So we have dubbed that night Yellow Fest Band Splash. That evening we are going to feature community bands.
Ms. Gis says 4 bands from Petite Savanne will perform on Saturday night, as well as the famous band from Portsmouth, the Anchor Band. She added that on Sunday she encouraged public to partake in the church service.
On Sunday, we encourage people to go to the church service, and then following that we'll have cultural performances. You know that Petite Savanne is well known for its culture, so we're going to feature cultural performances as well as hula hoop competition, and then to finalize the activities we'll have the Fanatic Band on with us. That's the Sunday.
Ms. Gis noted that this is not an annual thing due to financial constraints, therefore the council tries to host it at least every 2 years.
Petite Savanne is a community where there's not a resource center that we can use. So if you bring in a band on that day, then you cannot charge a fee that they come in to enjoy themselves. It's open, so we don't get an income out of that. So that's why we organize it every 2 years.
Manager of Tribal Services, Mr. Jed Dorset, gives us some more insight about the sponsors for this event.
Jungle Bay Resort and Spa, LGPN and Company Limited, Grand Bay Credit Union, Carib Sand and Stones, Dominica Brewery and Beverages Limited, Dominica National Lottery, Dominica Essential Oils and Spices Limited, the Government of Dominica, Heineken Beer, and also SAT Telecom.
Ms. Gis says that the last feast in 2010 was a huge success due to the overt ceremony that they hosted. On the Sunday, people from the community were recognized for their contributions also. Ms. Gis encouraged the public to attend the feast because she believes that it will be an entertaining event.
Because Petite Savanne is a community where you have hospitable people, very friendly people, and the ambience there is just good that you can socialize with your friends and family, of course.
And in entertainment, there is still time to text for your favorite dancer for the first ever Dominica Can Dance competition. Fans of the 16 contestants are in need of your votes because they will be added to the judges' score at the semi-finals to determine the 10 finalists. Using your line phone, simply text the number of the contestant listed below to 2269. The contestants and their corresponding numbers are 1. Bree, 2. Stranger, 3. Muchachos, 4. Dat Shot Dancer, 5. LaRusa, 6. Be Free 2, 7. Pepper, 8. Ras Simple, 10. Sensual Dancer, 11. Swagger Jeezy, 12. Spaga, 13. What Yeah, 14. Be Free, 15. Workups, 16. Link Master, 18. Jude and Clem. Voting continues until the night of the semi-finals, which will be held on October 6, 2012 at the Iraq House of Culture. Also judging from the preliminary show on August 25th, the audience is in for a treat as rehearsals intensified and contestants upped their game. They will be vying for the first prize of $5,000, a chance to participate in the regional competition, and handsets. Tickets for the semi-finals cost only $15 and are available at the Glam and from members of the DCD committee. Persons are encouraged to purchase their tickets early to avoid disappointments, as hundreds were turned away at the preliminaries because of limited seating, so don't wait for last minute, then get disappointed. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.
Reporting for SAT TV News in the community of Point Michel, where the main event of Teachers Appreciation Day is taking place. Here is what some of the teachers had to say on this special day.
Teachers Day in Dominica is a day for all teachers in the island to celebrate their achievements, and also that not only the teachers to celebrate the parents, the Ministry of Education and the students to appreciate what the teachers do for them, because teachers have assumed a role of more than just being a teacher. They have been everything in one, and I think it's a great day for teachers, and once it's on the calendar of events, we should celebrate it.
I believe this is a very good opportunity to recognize the hard work of teachers. I mean, people should know that our teachers are really committed and dedicated to the cause of education. Our teachers have been really working really hard. You would hear testament of that from adults and a number of young people who have gone through the education system. We hear them say all the time that teachers have really impacted their lives significantly and made them who they are or they are today. So I think this celebration is in place to say thank you, teachers. We appreciate what you've done, what you're doing. And I know that it is not enough. You know, what is happening here today is not enough to repay teachers for all the hard work, the years of hard work. But it is indeed a good gesture, and I must say that I'm happy to see the number of people around today celebrating Teachers Day. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the school that I work, Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, and the community of Point Michel, to thank the many teachers, those who have retired already and those who are still at work, to thank them for their hard work, their commitment to national development.
Before, you had a lot of people coming out and students would be bringing lots of these, but we know times are hard, but it still continues. It's like a little tradition. Children still bring gifts, but it's not like before. And we know we can't blame them because we as teachers, we know what money is and we know how fight can be stretched. But I think it's a good idea. It may not continue the way it used to be, but still, it will go on as a tradition.
I don't think, as the Prime Minister said, enough money is going to be paid to teachers for all they have done, but at least one day it's good enough. It's just that we expect more from our union, because on that day you're expected to do everything on your own pocket.
Okay, Teachers Appreciation Day is something that is very good for the teachers because you feel appreciated for the work that you're doing. You know, you have to do a lot of hard work in the classroom, come give the students, take them from point A to point B, and then in the end, Teachers Appreciation Day, when the students come and they tell you how much they appreciate what you do for them, it makes you feel good to be a teacher.
I think that is a very good idea, very innovative idea. It's a day when teachers get recognized and teachers get acknowledged. Teachers, I think, are very hard-working people. Teachers are the ones, I guess, that they are like, when they are at school, they play all different roles, not only the role of being a teacher, but that of mother, of judge, of nurse, and name it, whatever else you can think about. So I think Teachers Appreciation Day is a very good idea for teachers, whatever it is that they are doing in the classroom. It's a good time for that to be recognized, and for the nation, I guess, to give back to teachers the respect, I guess, that they deserve for the hard work that they're doing.
I think the year-by-year celebration is a good thing. It's a way of appreciating the teachers. It's a way of making us feel that we are important, that we are needed, and we have a lot more work to do. However, the usual year-by-year coming, meeting, the formality, it's time that we step aside a little bit from the formality, or we follow the formality with some action. When I mean action, I mean the support for the teachers, giving the not only just coming here or going wherever and having the event, but also as the year goes through, you show the support for the teachers, you show the support for the schools through actions, through incentives. These are the things we teachers are looking for, not just to come and sit and listen to formal speeches and so forth. We need action. We need to see that ministry is with us, that ministry is on board with us, and I think that's maybe a general thing you will hear from many teachers. I'm not saying that they are not, but we need to see more. But besides that, it's a good thing. We feel that at least today we feel special, and I hope that they can make us feel even better during the rest of the school year and for the coming years.
This was this week's episode of Street Talk with Larry Larrock reporting for SAT TV News.